February.
Okay, bro.
It's actually February.
Okay, bro. Wrap it up. What? Invalid login session. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Narwhals swimming in the ocean.
Don't tap the glass. Don't tap the glass. Don't tap.
Yo, what the hell?
Yeah.
Causing a commotion, cause they are so awesome. Narwhals swimming in the ocean. Pretty big and pretty wide to beat a polar bear in a fight.
Yo, Greg,
like
you know
an
when
underwater
you unmute
unicorn.
and I hear your desktop sounds, my voice actually goes through. I'm tweaking. But, oh.
They've got to kick us facial harm. They're the Jedi of the sea. Stop Kafula waiting.
Yo, give me a word to say. Give me a word to say. Yes, you.
Quest and then never heard of again. I keep saying it, Runekraft's lore is bloated beyond belief. We have time travel, alternate dimension, drugs, alcohol, a racial war, Bigfoot, and all of those highly interesting things are just used for one quest and then forgotten? Please, Runecraft, build on your existing mechanics and storylines more and stop bloating your story with this one-off gimmicks. Sorry for this long rant, but this is just a problem a lot of quests have, even the good ones. So yeah, Forbidden Prison is great, let's move on to number 9. The currently highest level quest in the game is a Hunter's Calling, or AHC for short. The main gameplay loop is talking to this Dark Guardian thing. He mainly keeps telling you random gibberish no one understands, but judging by the context, this guy shows you what would have happened if you fought on the evil side. Excuse me, of course I would have fought on the dark side, Durn Beast on top, but the game doesn't let me. This quest definitely helps idiots like me to live out their evil fantasies by assassinating politicians, blowing up poor people's homes, and flirting with an NPC only to lure them into a trap and mutilate them into a giant metal robot. Kinda kinky, but I dig it. But on a more serious note, AHC definitely suffers from its non-existent integrity into the storyline. A better build-up to this final quest would have helped immensely. Right now, this quest just happens out of nowhere, but apart from that and the long walking distance, which can get annoying sometimes, everything else about AHC is great. There are multiple memorable and challenging boss fights from Theoric to Maxi, and especially the fight against your friends Alidar and Tassim. The storyline is emotional and hard-hitting by having the player commit horrible things for horrible people. The quest was probably the most emotional quest in the entire game. Even though lore-wise this quest is absolute nonsense, its position as the final quest and having you, the player, going back to old places you visited and the people you helped culminates into a dreamlike but also anxiety-inducing finale to the Runekraft storyline. As I said, this quest is definitely flawed, but its best aspects are some of the best in all of Runekraft. Number 8 is Shattered Minds. A lot of people think of it as a haha funny meme quest, cause that's what the plot sounds like. The player is tasked to find a mushroom in a cave, but then they get high from the mushroom and hallucinate a talking frog who talks even more gibberish than the portal guy from AHC. Then there are colorful rooms with weird architecture and haha, there's Yaya in his final form and the trippy forest with the weird tier 6 loot chest that is apparently my mom because it says go to the gym and own a business and go to therapy and then the quest is over and when you become so gym and own a business with the weird tier 6 loot loot chest that is apparently my mom, because it says go to the gym and own a business and go to therapy, and then the quest is over and when you become sober again. As silly and memey as this quest might seem, it's a breath of fresh air compared to the self-serious info lore dump quests that plague the level 60 to 70 range. Honestly, the gameplay of Shattered Minds is surprisingly enjoyable, and the sheer absurdity of the colors and the NPCs makes it one of the most memorable and unique quests in the entire game. As this is a video on the 8 channel, I need to criticize this quest in some way. The beginning cave section has kind of annoying parkour with all the different enemies shooting at you, and the puzzle before the trippy forest could use some minor adjustments as it's kinda boring, just going into the green things. But apart from these minor nitpicks, Shattered Minds remains one of the most beloved quests of Wynncraft, and that for good reason. Fantastic Voyage is, well, fantastic. Quests involving ocean adventures like Misadventure on the Sea and Redbeard's Booty are generally very good quests, but holy salted, Fantastic Voyage manages to combine the role-playing aspects from Misadventure on the Sea, the puzzles from Redbeard's Booty, and adds great adventurous vibes into the mix, creating a nearly flawless ocean adventure quest. Rayland is a pretty funny NPC who, for Wynncraft standards, is one of the best characters in the game. The mini-games like rowing the boat through the cliffs is very enjoyable, and the survival castaway gameplay on Gateway Island was unexpected but very welcome, and perhaps my favorite part of the quest. And at the end, you even get a teaser for the Silent Expanse and the Eye. Gateway Island is such a mysterious place, and we, the community, still don't know much about it. Like, where exactly is it located? What the hell is the Gateway Realm? Is it part of Dern or the Silent Expanse? How do these locations connect? The Gateway Realm was a very surprising finale to this laid-back ocean quest. And the coolest part is, no one knows anything about this place, and that's great. Sometimes keeping a mystery like this adds more to the quest, and perhaps we will have to wait until the Dern update comes out to find what the Gateway Realm actually is. Overall, a very good quest with great vibes and many unexpected twists and turns. I think this is gonna be somewhat controversial, but Point of No Return is the best Silent Expanse quest, and in my opinion, the 6th best quest in Wynncraft. I get it, it can be very buggy, especially on higher ping, and trust me, I'm an expert when it comes to high ping. But once you look past these flaws, it becomes clear how Point of No Return is one of the most unique quests with the most distinct and striking atmosphere in all of Wynncraft. This quest tells the story of the ancient miners and the monolith of light in Lutho, and how Orpheon basically trapped their souls in an illusion of happiness while their actual bodies wander as empty husks in Lutho and their eyes get hung up on trees, creating the Eyeball Forest. Most time playing the quest, you follow your soul through the empty dark rooms, doing parkour and puzzles with this really cool body swapping mechanic that unfortunately sucks at higher ping. At the end you find yourself in ancient Lutho, where your soul confronts you about either staying here in the illusion of happiness or face the real world again. I wish there was an option to stay in the monolith realm and then your character becomes unplayable or something like that, but I doubt something like this will be implemented in Wynncraft of happiness or face the real world again. I wish there was an option to stay in the monolith realm and then your character becomes unplayable or something like that, but I doubt something like this will be implemented. Wynncraft ain't got the balls to do this. At least give us a better dilemma situation and make the quest have multiple different possible endings. Show us how the monolith realm is a place of fake happiness and how it can be harmful like a drug. Because to be honest, present Lutho looks more colorful and cheerful than the supposed happy version. But apart from my usual nitpicks, I adore the atmosphere and unique challenges of the quest. Definitely a memorable quest that is somewhat underrated.
So, on June 15, I was banned from Wynncraft for using illegal macros when I don't. Now, disclaimer, I was unbanned after 17 days on July 1st, and the gameplay footage in the background was recorded after my unban. Anyway, for those of you who don't understand what multicast looping macros are, the word macro in gaming essentially refers to programming inputs on your keyboard or mouse to perform a series of commands or actions. At the time this video is uploaded, it is legal to use two kinds of macros in Wynncraft. The first is a single input macro that performs 3 mouse clicks in order to cast a spell. Basically, you press one key to cast one spell. The second is a macro that continuously performs left click or right click repeatedly while holding down a button. This is mainly used for builds that constantly spam main attacks. So, looking back at the ban reason, the moderation team banned me on the belief that I use macros that cast multiple spells on one button press, with looping technology that continues to repeat that spell casting sequence automatically. When you are banned from Wynncraft, you are supposed to go on the forums to the ban appeal section and submit an appeal. However, the ban appeal process starts with a prompt that asks for your username, and then brings you to a short questionnaire which automatically assumes you are guilty and doesn't have any actual information regarding the details of the ban. Now this ban appeal system is pretty terrible, but it functions fine assuming every person who was banned is guilty, because the moderation team is simply looking for an admission of guilt. I knew I could get unbanned pretty easily if I just apologized, as they unban first-time offenders, but I did not want to apologize for something I didn't do, and decided to create an appeal for my innocence. My first issue came pretty quickly though, because I realized that I don't actually know what I'm defending myself for, given that there is no present evidence or justification for my ban. can. So, you.
Hi, it's me, the roaster of Windcraft. Today, however, I will lay aside the barbecue. Wind Excavation Site D will forever be the most impactful quest on my first playthrough. Yes, it was recently announced that the entire Wind Excavation questline will be updated in the near future. And yes, it is somewhat in need of a redesign, as Wind Excavation is one of the oldest storylines in Windcraft. The main appeal of this quest particular is definitely the what the fuck is going on energy. The 3 prior quests in the Wind Excavation series were all pretty straightforward and it was unclear where the story would go. But then boom, Site D. Traitor Armadell is actually the leader of the organization and he has been playing some 5D chess with you the whole time. And then suddenly there's an ancient Olmec city and Armadell is a wither now, and then you end up in Ragni, a place you probably haven't visited in a long time, and you're probably confused as hell. The my goals are beyond your understanding vibes of this quest are so delightfully confusing, and the main gameplay of finding out about the conspiracy with the King of Troms, escaping the city and joining the revolution is all really enjoyable. Navigating the Olmec city can be a bit annoying since all the enemies are faster than you and can teleport, and the boss fight at the end is somewhat underwhelming. Like, come on, Armadell just sucked up the power of 4 almighty cosmic objects. Why does he still suck so much? 2.1 would be a great opportunity to at least update the boss fight, but as stated, they will revamp the entire questline at a later date. But until we wait for that, Wind Excavation Site D remains an extremely memorable quest with great puzzles and an interesting storyline, for lack of a better word. Hey, do you play horror games? I surely don't, so the quest A Grave Mistake was the closest thing to a horror game experience I ever had, and thus the quest felt far more memorable and atmospheric to me than it probably actually is. A Grave Mistake has you running around the Twain graveyard and complete 4 pretty basic puzzles. Then a passage opens and after a cutscene the quest ends. It really doesn't sound that engaging because at its core it's a very basic quest. The real power comes from its presentation and especially the use of ambient sounds. Windcraft has a pretty banger soundtrack that is almost constantly playing in the background, so when the music suddenly completely vanishes and is replaced with vanilla Minecraft cave sounds and thunderstorm ambience, an almost uncanny silence is created that contrasts so greatly against the cheerful melodies you are used to hearing. Apart from that, all the typical horror elements are here. We have blood, dead bodies, jump scares, etc. This quest demonstrates how you don't need intricate game design or advanced mechanics in boss battles. Sometimes a simple quest with simple puzzles can be enough, and with the right presentation and atmosphere, it can even become the 4th best quest in the game. Another dark horror quest is Memory Paranoia. If I recall correctly, this is Grian's favorite quest, and we all know the more subscribers someone has, the more important their opinion becomes. So Memory Paranoia being this high is basically a fact you can't deny. Laying aside the mob mentality of the Dreamstand hive mind, Memory Paranoia really is a great quest. It has you exploring this ancient mansion and finding memories about the Caryatid family. The mansion was actually built on top of the parasite's hideout and gavel, so there is darkness leaking into the mansion or whatever the fuck is going on there. Like many other quests on this list, the immersion of this quest is great. The storyline alternates between past and the present. The past memories feel alive but dreamlike at the same time, while in the present, the decrepit mansion tells the story of sadness and the passage of time. The horror elements also really add to the experience. This time it's more of the psychological horror, with Mr. Caryatid spiraling down into madness and killing his own wife out of despair, and the darkness that slowly corrupts him. This quest has dark, melancholic and very tense moments that all flow together beautifully, creating a truly spectacular quest. Definitely deserving the number 3 spot. However, there are 2 quests that are even better than this one, so let's get to number 2. As you could maybe tell by now, I really like quests that heavily lean into the role-playing aspect. A prime example of such a quest is Flight in Distress, where the player finally remembers that they are in fact a soldier and have duties to fulfill. So in Flight in Distress, player is tasked to guard an airship that is going from Sinfras to Deathless. The best thing about this quest is, once again, its immersion. You have to help different passengers, the captain or the mechanic, but between those actions you have to go to sleep, simulating an actual daily routine. The second half of the quest with the Skyraider stuff isn't nearly as engaging as the first one, but still very enjoyable. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just a great quest with cozy vibes and immaculate immersion. The only thing that's missing is an option to push that kid off the airship. So, before we get to number 1, here are some quick honorable mentions that didn't quite make it on the list. A Journey Beyond and A Journey Further are both great quests with tense drama and striking atmosphere. But why is everyone walking so slowly? You know these memes about following NPCs that are 10 times slower than you? Yeah, this quest is a prime example of this. There are some other annoying parts, like the Aledar escort sequence. I don't really like this one, even though Aledar in a card is the most epic thing Salted has ever created. Hollow Serenity tells the gruesome story of the Faltach family. Although the storyline is great and deliciously dark, it somewhat suffers a bit from its length and dialogue frequency. Both Misadventure on the Sea and Redbeard's Booty are great sea adventure involving pirates. They don't really have the greatest lore or story, but both of them are just really fun time with great role-playing and a sense of exploration respectively. Other great quests I like include Lexdale Witch Trials, mainly for their unique atmosphere and parkour. Acquiring credentials has an illegal black market that's always appreciated. The Hidden City is just great all around, and the Canary Calls is an absolute drug trip, even though the minecart section sucks. So let's move on to number 1. And finally, the best quest in all of Wynncraft is 1000 meters under. The atmosphere is incredible, the immersion and the story are also incredible. The player is hired by a scientist who lost an incredibly valuable crystal to the void, so the player and other volunteers are sent into the void on some sort of void submarine to bring the crystal back. Similar to Flight in Distress, the immersion of this quest is immaculate, having the best role-playing in the game, period. First off, there are other people who you work together with and who share the same motivation as you. Wynncraft is often plagued by the main character syndrome. The player is the hero, they are the best, etc. But having the player work with similar-minded people makes the quest feel very natural and believable. Another great thing is the simulation of an actual routine similar to Flight in Distress. You sometimes go to rest, other times you help on board of the ship, and sometimes the entire crew goes outside searching for the crystal on the Void Islands. The void slowly getting more desaturated and unsettling the deeper the ship goes is a great detail, and of course the finale where the rope cuts and everyone dies except the player is just wonderfully dark. Here the main character problems shine through a bit again, as I mentioned earlier, but at this point I don't even care. The walk through the Void Islands feels very depressing and mellow, and the environments are surreal and dangerous. Finally, at the end, the player finds the Void Village, where a bunch of mutated Void humans live. These guys are pretty funny, but they also need the crystal you have been searching for to survive down here. I wish this moral dilemma was built up more and the player was given the choice either to take the crystal back to the surface or to leave it to the Void people. I don't know, that's my only real criticism. The rest of the quest is simply amazing, from its atmosphere and immersion to the surreal Void Islands and interesting characters. Definitely my favorite quest in the game. So, these were my top 10 favorite quests.
From a humble start to the biggest MMORPG in Minecraft, Wynncraft's evolution over the last 10 years has been nothing short of remarkable. But how do you keep a server popular for such a long time? Well, with two things: good server content and a dedicated community. So let's take a look at how Wynncraft and its community has evolved since its inception. It all began when a trio of visionaries got together: Salted, the mastermind, Grian, the builder, and Joomla, the server dev. Inspired by games like Diablo, RuneScape, and Smash, Salted, coming from the Crafted Movie YouTube channel, had the idea of making a MMORPG within Minecraft. Together with his two friends and admins Crunkle, Thomas63, and Hi, my name is AJ, and a content team made up by many volunteers, the work started. Upon its launch, April 29th, there were 4 classes: Archer, Warrior, Mage, and Assassin, but Assassin was locked behind the VIP rank. But the game lacked content, having only monsters for XP and a few dungeons and cities. The community at the early start was also just mainly Crafted Movie viewers, but things would move quickly. With lots of small updates, it was time for the next big one. With the pet update came pets, dueling, the VIP town for ranked players, and most popular, swarms. Mobs would flood cities, and it became so popular a group was created to track them down. And with a new endgame jungle, Wartho 27 was the first to reach the max level of 70. Later, Sam Abyssal achieved the feat of reaching the max level on all 4 classes, and discovered an accidental extra level that required the same amount of XP as leveling from 1 to max, and this secret level still exists today. Then, the quest update brought a quest system and skill points, as well as the toughest boss at the time, the Corruptor of Worlds, which would require a team of 6 players to defeat. The player base also grew when YouTubers Failboat and Sam Gladiator joined the server, but the start of the dedicated WinTubers began with Igbar von Squid's skits and Mr. Sebulonian's quest guides. Then came the ocean update, adding more islands and a larger ocean. The Nether, where players could fight each other, but most notably a higher level cap of 75 and a new boss, Bob's Reincarnation. The first year came to an end and it was time for Wynncraft to start its next year. In its second year, Wynncraft received several major updates. The spell update was the first big update, which changed many of the class's spells and added a mysterious gate at the end of the ocean. Nether PvP was made unaffected by gear and skill points, making it more popular, with players fighting for a spot on the PvP leaderboard. The update also attracted a lot of content creators, such as the Cirque and Hassack, who started making Let's Play videos, while Adventures with Hippie and Blue Lixard created useful guides for the community. Even big YouTubers like In the Littlewood and BOO did a few playthrough episodes, helping to boost the game's popularity even further. And In the Littlewood would later get his own area in the game and an NPC in the modern quest Deja Vu named after him. The mob update was the most significant update during this time, which changed everything. It introduced much improved mobs and a whole reworked desert with an added mesa where there was lots to do. However, due to changes in the EULA, the update also got rid of the VIP town and the XP bonus that rank players had, but a new rank, VIP Plus, was introduced along with class reskins, and then Assassin was also made available for everyone to use. This year also saw the birth of several sub-communities within the game, such as the Theory community, which started with SteelX Awesome's first theories on the forums. The featured Wynncraftian selection was also introduced, featuring notable members of the community and their achievements. Jangdal also became the first to make covers of the game's note block songs, which started a whole new music community. The Halloween update came next with only a few quests. However, the winter update would later bring even more content, including a whole new region, the Frozen Valley with Lusico, and the new challenge for players to take on, the Tower of Ascension, with the new hardest boss in the game, Death. The update also added the Durnal Jungle and guilds, albeit unofficial guild communities had already existed for much longer. The update also added relics, both powders, armor, and weapons, found all around the world, although they were later removed and reduced to just unique gear dropped by randomly spawning guardians and elemental powders. Custom armor skins were also introduced, with each armor piece having its own unique look. However, this feature was also later removed. The addition that the community loved the most was the introduction of the first two quests of the Wynn Excavation questline. These quests were on a whole new level and still among some of the most enjoyed quests in the game. Overall, this period saw a lot of growth and development for Wynncraft, both in terms of content and community, but the next biggest update was looming on the horizon. The third year of Wynncraft was marked by a sense of anticipation for the upcoming Gavel update, which had been teased for over a year with the gate to the province at the edge of the map. Although the winter update had just been released, players were already looking ahead to what was next. Theories about the Land of Durn began to circulate on the forums as well. And as the players eagerly awaited the Gavel update, a small update was released adding the final two quests in the Wynn Excavation questline, which were received with the same enthusiasm as the first two. Everything took a weird turn when the forums all crashed out of nowhere, known as the time the admin Joomla spilled coffee on the servers. The biggest forums thread was also started this year, the Void Rift RP, which has gotten over 1 million views. Hype for the update was fueled by teasers on Twitter, trailers, and a Q&A with Grian. The Wintuber Mr. Sebulonian even made a Minecraft parody song hyping for the update. Finally, in December, the Gavel update was released, bringing with it a whole new region and a wealth of new content. The level cap was increased to 100, and over 50 new quests were added, making it the biggest update in the history of Wynncraft. In addition, the item system was completely overhauled and improved, with items now giving health bonuses, more IDs, and new tiers, mythic and set items were added. Perhaps most significantly, Windcraft received its own texture pack. No longer were weapons shovels and sticks, but actual models, and everything had a unique look to it. But it wasn't easy, seeing as just getting the right shade of green for the grass took over 30 tries. With all the new content, you might think it would have been easy to level to 100 fairly quickly, but the end game was sorely lacking, with barely any quests past level 80. Nevertheless, J6 Unlimited quickly became the first player to reach level 100. And the hardest bosses had also been dethroned when Kira's Hive was added, being an extremely difficult boss upon release when everyone was still getting used to the new item system. But with the double XP, the quest upon completion would help you level faster than anything else. Overall, the third year of Windcraft was marked by a sense of anticipation for the Gavel update, as well as excitement over all the new content it brought. Despite the continued need for more endgame content, the community remained engaged and eager to explore all that Windcraft had to offer. The start of the fourth year saw a thriving community still enjoying the Gavel expansion, with plenty of content to discover. One highly sought after challenge was the mysterious question mark quest, which came without instruction, and its solution was a closely guarded secret. Another enigma was the clock mystery, where players had to find random clocks scattered around the province and bring them to a specific building to unlock hidden boss fights. Thanks to the revamped item system, the class building community blossomed with its own dedicated forum section. The community was also delighted when the moderator Pretzel was appointed the official community manager, establishing a direct line of communication between the content team and the players. The year also saw the inception of WinCon, the community's own convention, which in later years evolved to a very special event. However, everything wasn't all awesome. A rival MMO server, Centrella, was released and many content creators and players switched over to try it. However, it couldn't compare, and so eventually everyone returned to Win. With the new level cap, the Easter egg level was reinstated, and so Brodinger and Motoki 1 were the first to reach level 101. And on April Fool's Day, the next major update was announced, promising a steampunk island. Though most dismissed it as a prank, many wondered if there might be some truth to it. In the summer, the gameplay update arrived, featuring significant dungeon revamps, new content, and corrupted dungeons for high-level players. The update also introduced boss altars around the map and a revamped question mark quest, now allowing players to share the solution. The most significant addition was probably elemental powders. Before the Gavel update, you could use them to add effects like fire aspect to your weapons, but with the new item system introducing elemental defenses and damages, these new reworked powders added special elemental abilities to weapons and gear. The Halloween update followed, introducing a new rank, Hero Rank, and offering more character slots for ranked players. Daily crates and mob totems also made their debut, along with a high-level corrupted dungeon. But it was the new Demon Cave in the Molten Heights that became the new favored spot for high-level players to grind. The winter update concluded the year, adding the long-teased Corcus Island, which many had thought was just a prank. Though players couldn't yet explore it, they knew it was there. The Winter Fair was also added, with Christmas-themed minigames to enjoy. The fourth year was filled with exploration of Gavel's vast content, new additions, and the start of anticipation for the next major update. It was a year of excitement and growth, and everyone looked forward to what was next. The fifth year was off to an exciting start. The new Corcus Island was in the game, and it wouldn't take long before the entire update came out. The actual update was based on a suggestion from the player Mr. Coffee Time, who got a small secret Easter egg added into the update. The update brought a plethora of endgame quests and content to satisfy the community's desires since the Gavel expansion.
Ugh.